morning, Joe. Good morning, Philadelphia. Hey, listen, this is certain things that grown men should never tell another grown man to do, and that's one of those things is to tell another grown man to shave. Don't worry about another man's facial hair. Like, that is a no-no.
Wow.
In the lexicon of men one-on-one. Don't tell another man to shave.
I
Don't
agree. Stash isn't going anywhere.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, man. Cats on my timeline talking about, hey, man.
I knew that was what this was
You
about.
need to shave. Hey, man. We are not in a situation, first of all, you don't have the right gender parts to be telling me
and here we go.
to shave. I'm just saying, don't do that. Don't tell another grown man to shave.
I thought you were sticking up for me.
No, I'm just saying, don't tell another grown man to shave.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I mean, that's true. Maybe you also shouldn't tell the best offensive line coach in the NFL that he's no longer the run game coordinator or take his spot away without actually communicating with them. Last night, we get the news that Jeff Stoutland out as Eagles offensive coordinator, not because the Eagles didn't want him anymore, because Jeff Stoutland didn't want to be here anymore. He
felt disrespected.
Yeah, and he should feel disrespected. And honestly, and I know there's a lot of different emotions this morning, 215-592-9494, whether you're angry, disappointed, confused. The word I have is embarrassed. I'm embarrassed. I think the Eagles should be embarrassed that the best offensive line coach in pro football said, I'd rather not work for you anymore. In an offseason that has not been good from the jump, it has felt like a gut punch after gut punch. No one wants to work here. This, that. The A.J. Brown rumors. Who knows about the quarterback? Like, there's a lot of stuff going on with this franchise right now, and it's not pointing in a great direction. Hugh, one thing that the Eagles have had for years.
Stability at the offensive line.
Yes, since Jeff Stoutland got here. It's okay.
Little distraught.
We all are. Hugh, since Jeff Stoutland got here, there's a lot of common denominators. Howie, obviously, some of the players have spawned a long time, right? Yeah, it's spanned a long time between Brandon Graham and Lane Johnson. But the one thing, the one thread between their best teams that won the Super Bowl, 17, 22 going, 24 winning, different quarterbacks, different running backs, different defenses, different coordinators, different head coaches. On the field, when you put the game on, the offensive line was great in their best years in 17, 22, 24. And the man behind that offensive line was Jeff Stoutland. I'm seeing player after player talk about what he provided this team, what he provided their careers, from Kelsey to Lane to Mailata. He took players all right, I understand Lane Johnson was a first-round pick and a very high pick. Jason Kelsey wasn't. Jordan Mailata wasn't even supposed to be anything like he is. Brandon Brooks got here as a pretty decent player and became the best guard in pro football. Over and over and over again, he made this offensive line, or helped this offensive line, go from good to great. And last season, and we'll get to the story Tim McManus wrote yesterday at ESPN, they marginalized him. They made him feel small. I heard Joe use that word this morning. I agree with him. And it feels like a complete misstep by the Eagles. Hugh, I know you have a lot to say. I think we all do today. I'm embarrassed that we let a coach this good walk out the door because he didn't feel respected here.
Respect your elders, man. I mean, and this is what you're talking about. You're talking about a dearth of wisdom that you allowed leave the building. I don't know what the situation is, but I'm more than happy to recklessly speculate.
That's why you're here.
I'm more than happy to recklessly speculate. It feels like he was stripped of duties and nobody was man enough to have that conversation with him. You don't do OGs like that. That's why I was so adamant about if Coach Vic Fangio wanted to be here, allow him the time to figure it out. It's obvious by the way that he tweeted, because it felt last night that was an abrupt tweet, like there was something that he had to get off his chest right away and keep it moving. Man, I hate to see it. You're talking about the one thing that I know, and I remember when I was in Atlanta, and I can't remember the GM's name that was in Atlanta right now when I was there, but he used to talk about how the offensive defensive line, a lot of guys from college, they're raw. They're not coached up like they used to be. And a lot of times you get offensive linemen from other teams that are already kind of seasoned. And for when you talk about some of the guys that we've drafted here, some of the guys that have turned into players here, the one constant has been Coach Stoutland. Mm-hmm. The way that he coached them up. You talk about the guard that we had last year, Mekhi Becton, that we got from the Jets that was considered a bust.
Yep.
Came in at, 6'7", and played guard well.
And fit into the best O-line in the sport.
To the best O-line in the sport. Went off and got paid somewhere else. That was Coach Stoutland. So when you talk about what he brought to the table, it's hard to find coaches like that, man. And that's why he was here for, 13 seasons.
Yep.
He lasted, 3-4 coaching regimes?
Started with Chip Kelly, went to Doug Peterson, to Nick Sirianni after that.
I mean, and think about that for a minute. People, in the NFL, where so many coaches are being, moving around as much. Coach Stoutland was here for 13 years. And he saw how many different presidents he see in that time span? About 2 or 3?
Yeah, quite a few, yeah.
Yeah, no, but my point is that he was here for a reason.
Yes.
And for him to leave abruptly, that kind of plays into everything else that has been going on in this offseason. Like I said, man, I don't know what it is, and I know most people feel like when you get an opportunity to get a better job, you take that opportunity. But when you have a good thing going, man, you don't leave abruptly. And that's what it feels like when you have some of these coaches leaving. I don't know what's going on over in that building, man, but it's obvious something's going on, and it rubbed Coach Stoutland the wrong way, and he was like, I'm tired of it. I'm out.
Yeah, well, you know what? Good for him. And he will be loved here for a long time, as he should be. He's one of the great assistant coaches in Eagles history. I mean, just think about that for a second. In the history of the franchise, he's one of the most accomplished and best assistant coaches. At his specialty, he was that good. And it's one thing, to your point, Hugh, if he said, I'm retired, right? Then we all wish him well. It's one thing if he said, hey, I'm from this place in the country, I want to kind of go home. Then we'd say, that stinks, but we get it. This was, and the statement he put out yesterday, I'm done coaching the Eagles, is what this was. I don't want to be part of the Eagles anymore. And they need to look themselves in the mirror over there, specifically the head coach, that he allowed this to happen. That he lost a good coach, not because he wanted to, not because they didn't want him anymore, because he didn't want them anymore. You couple that with the coordinators that seemingly didn't want any part of this, with Vic Fangio contemplating retirement. Boy, it has not been a good look for the Eagles the last few weeks.
Kind of makes you wonder, man.
It does.
Kind of makes you wonder.
It does. 215-592-9494. All right, can we hear from Dave Zangaro here on his reporting on Dave Zangaro, NBC Sports Philadelphia? Again, it's one thing if this was the Eagles saying, we want to go in a different direction. That's not what this was. Here is Zangaro on the decision by Stoutland.
Here's kind of what we've gathered about this decision. It was his decision, I'm told, to step away. The Eagles wanted him back, but as their offensive line coach only in 2026, so maybe not the run game coordinator part of his job. That was going to change as they kind of changed schemes as they bring in Sean Mannion. So at that point, Stoutland decided to step back.
Well, so there's even more to add to this if you kind of go back through the season. So remember, what was it, about a week ago, Jeff McClain reported that the Eagles at some point kind of took away some of that run game coordinator responsibility from Jeff Stoutland.
Yeah.
So we knew that. But Tim McManus yesterday had the details on what that was. And Hugh, you were kind of speaking to this. And to me, I'll read it to everyone. This is a bad look on Nick Sirianni, as he's supposed to be CEO, communicator, right? Like leader.
That was his thing. Being smart is knowing what to do and how to communicate.
Sure
with
was.
folks. Yeah.
All right, so here's
the first part of being smart is knowing what to do.
Yeah, we're about to recklessly speculate.
Sure are. Here's what Tim McManus wrote yesterday, ESPN.com. Quote, with the offense stagnant, head coach Nick Sirianni took on a more active role over the latter part of the season. He and then offensive coordinator Kevin Patullo began incorporating different run designs in an effort to kickstart the operation. Stoutland was not consulted about the changes to what he felt was an appropriate degree, a league source said, to the point where he no longer desired the title of run game coordinator because he felt it no longer fit his job description. Again, it's one thing to kind of take away a responsibility from someone, Hugh. The issues seem to be here. They didn't even really communicate they were doing it. They just did it, and then he was like, well, what am I supposed to do now?
Yeah, that's disrespectful. And it feels like, as I am allowed to recklessly speculate, that there was a whole lot of conversation going on behind his back that he wasn't privy to, and this is what they came up with. That's the worst thing in the world you could do to somebody as seasoned as Coach Stoutland is have those conversations and not be man enough to handle those or say that to him to his face. And that's probably why he feels disrespected, because you've given all this time to this organization, blood, sweat, and tears, and the least they could do is say, hey, Coach, we're going in a different direction. And, we want to do this. We want you here, but this is what we're going to do. He might not have liked that, but I think that's an easier pill to swallow when you see it coming. But to just go to work one day and all of a sudden the sheets that you're used to getting, they're not as many, they're not as plentiful as they once were. And then somebody say, hey, don't worry about it, Coach, we got this, we're going to do this. And then just start to slowly take away your responsibilities. That's disrespectful.
And without real communication.
Yeah, that's disrespectful.
Of all the things, and you could say maybe they were justified or whatever. You can feel whatever you want to feel.
Yeah, however it is.
The run game wasn't good last year. We know that. But I think he's earned the right to be told this. He's earned the right to be told it instead of you just doing it and not talking about it. I mean, he had a Pro Bowler on his offensive line for 13 seasons in a row.
And everybody talked about how good the offensive line was. Stoutland University.
Yeah.
So much so my man was selling T-shirts and whatnot. I'm pretty sure if he wants to work, his phone's probably ringing right now.
Of course
there's no
it
doubt
is.
in my mind. But it's just – you don't handle people that have been in the game that long like that, man, in my opinion.
The other thing, and if I don't know what he was feeling. We know he obviously felt enough to leave. If I'm him, I'm feeling like you're blaming this all on me.
Yeah, well he was it was a couple scapegoats.
Well, like I seriously, like if I'm Jeff Stoutland and I walk in one day and my run game plans you're kind of mutilating and saying we're not doing this anymore. We're doing what I want and what Kevin Petullo wants. I'm speaking about Sirianni. If I'm Jeff Stoutland, I'm like, hold on a second. Saquon Barkley obviously had a lot of carries last year. Maybe he just doesn't have the same burst. The offensive line has been banged up from day one. Lane is out. Dickerson hasn't been the same. Juergens hasn't been the same. Oh, and the quarterback that you guys paid a lot of money to because he was a dual threat and helped our run game, he doesn't run anymore. So it's my fault. It's my design. That's why we can't run the football. Maybe it's your players, Howie.
Can I
maybe it's your offensive coordinator, Nick. Maybe it's the fact that you don't bring anything to the offense at all, Nick. Every time you get involved, it sucks.
Oh, you reckless, but you going in.
Well, look, if I am Jeff Stoutland, and I'm like, you're blaming this on me. You're putting this on me. What about you guys?
Kevin Petullo fault.
You know what? You know who's still here?
Kevin Petullo. That's what I say. It was one of my boys got to go. And like we already know, Kevin Petullo is Nick Sirianni's boy.
Sure do.
So, Coach Stoutland was the sacrificial lamb.
Oh, that's smart. Let's make him the sacrificial lamb.
He bring forth the sacrificial lamb, so they got the OG.
Yeah,
they got the OG in this situation.
Well, it's embarrassing. I mean, I feel embarrassed, and I think the Eagles should feel embarrassed that they were the best O-line coach in the sport who put out a statement saying he had become a Philadelphian. He became one of us here. For his time spending living here and working here, that he said, I don't want to be here anymore. That they all over there, between Howie and Nick and Jeff, they should all look themselves in the mirror like, what the hell did we just do? 215-592-9494. That's how you hop aboard. Oh, boy. Kyle, what do you feel?
Well, a lot. I'm feeling a lot. My head's like spinning with all the different emotions, the Jeff Stoutland thing. First of all, just angry on his behalf. Like, they did this guy dirty.
Totally.
Did him dirty. I'm sad that, this guy was a pillar of this organization. Like, we want to talk about common denominators. This dude is the common denominator. The O-line is the common denominator for all the Eagles' successes, spanning multiple different regimes. So this goes past Sirianni, past Jalen Hurts, even past Howie to a degree. Technically started with Chip Kelly when Howie was in the broom closet.
Well, remember, Evan Matthews was a nobody, and then he came in here and was a Pro Bowler.
Right. I mean... Jordan Mailata on his intros in the games said, Stoutland University instead of whatever college he goes to. Like, this guy is the engine of the Philadelphia Eagles. The offensive line has been our engine for a while. It makes this thing go. Also, I'm confused as to how and why this happened. Like, is this a Sirianni thing? Is it a Mannion thing? Is it a Howie Roseman thing? Like, I'm so confused on that part. And then also now, what does this mean for the future of somebody like Lane Johnson? What does it mean for the future of a lot of different guys here? And then just finally, embarrassed. Like, get Jeffrey Lurie or whoever is letting this get out of hand. They need to get it together now.
You know what? I just thought about something. And I hate to do it because I like Coach Stoutland. But I feel like I have to be the drunk uncle at the barbecue.
What do you mean? What do you do?
And bring some, realism to this conversation.
Go ahead.
Now, he was getting some heat this year. The offensive line didn't play great this year.
Was that his fault or the injuries?
I'm not saying it was his fault.
Okay.
But
they seem to make it his fault.
There was, because we talked about it all season long, how the offensive line wasn't playing great. And some of that was because of injury.
Yeah.
Not blaming Coach Stoutland, but maybe they saw it. The data that they had, it looked different.
So, okay. And maybe they thought he wasn't doing as good of a job this year as he had in the past. And that's totally a fair – they could say that, right? He's been here 13 years. Some years have been great. Some years maybe good. Maybe this year not as good. That's fine. My issue isn't that they thought he should just focus on the O-line, not the run game, and that he felt slighted. Nick Sirianni is supposed to be the communicator, supposed to be the CEO coach. Like, when everyone defends Sirianni to me, they say, Joe, it's okay that he provides zero strategically. It's because he does all these other things.
He does well. He communicates
culture,
well.
Togetherness.
Yeah,
where's any of that?
This whole year, the culture was crap. And the fact that, even if it wasn't Nick's decision, which we could debate that, if he's the one that's got to deliver the message, like for Stoutland to be blindsided that they were doing this without even really communicating, that's a poor reflection on Nick Sirianni. Like that. I'm going to go back to this, and all the Sirianni people out there could yell at me if they want today. What the hell does this guy do? Like, what does he do well? This is supposed to be the stuff
back on the board.
What
did he do well?
What does he do well? This is supposed to be what he does well. Culture guy. The culture here sucks right now. And the best coordinators in the sport said, I want no part of this. It's a terrible look for Sirianni. And if it's Howie and Jeff that's really to blame for this, then Sirianni's got to clean up their mess. It's not good. 215-592-9494. Let's go to the phone lines here. Your reaction as Jeff Stoutland says, I'm out to the Philadelphia Eagles, and he is moving on after 13 seasons as the best offensive line coach in pro football.